As a minister, how do you handle attention from the opposite sex?
Well, there's everybody has a way of handling his own.
Okay.
Somebody like Joseph can run, tear the coat and flee and run. But there are situations where you can't run. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't run. You run. There are situations where you are confronted with the same situation every time. For instance, is a place where you work. You have to meet the person daily. For me, what helps me with the opposite sex is I know the implications. The danger is enormous.
Hi guys, my name is Vicky Seal and this is House of Utterance. I'm here again for another interesting podcast session. We are here with an amazing gospel music minister, an anointed man of God. His name is Minister Fortune Osamudiamen, right? I hope I got his name. So welcome to House of Utterance. We're so happy to have you here, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vicky. It's such a privilege to be here. First of all, honestly, you have a nice place.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Your podcast and very interesting and very
thank you, sir. Thank
inspiring.
You. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Fortune Osamudiamen, like you said. I wasn't sure you were going to get the pronunciation correct.
I did now. I'm a daughter babe now. It's not far from your side. So
thank you.
I got it.
I'm happy to be here.
Sir. All right, sir. So we're going to be discussing about ministry and marriage. Wow. How you marry the two of them, ministry and marriage, you marry the two of them, you know. So that's what I'm going to be asking you today from your own experience, from your own point of view, and how you've been in ministry. How's that, been in your marriage, in your home, and all of that. So my first question to you is, what is marriage to you, sir? As a minister, as a man, as a person, what is marriage to you?
Okay. Marriage these days has turned something else when you see men and men marry. So it's the right question to ask, what is marriage actually? Marriage is actually a union, obviously, between two partners, which is supposed to be a male and a female.
Yeah.
In our world these days, it's different. But the biblical and recognized way is a man and a woman joined together with the consent of their parents, and officially maybe the church can just put a blessing on it. But the marriage is essentially a union of a man and a woman, two adults that have consented to live their life together. I think that's a definition of marriage for me. That's
a wonderful one. That's a wonderful one. So how would you define ministry as well?
Oh, obviously. Ministry is anything God has called you to do. Not necessarily being in the pulpit. You can be a music minister. I think even politics is ministry. Anything God has called you to be, if you give it attention, that is ministry.
Wow.
By the grace of God, I am into music. God has actually called me into the music ministry. And it has been a wonderful time. It has been an amazing time. When you talk about marriage and ministry, I give you experiences that I have had. Fortunately, I met my wife in the choir. So it was, choir people now, they married themselves.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. So it was just, I was in my assignment and I met my wife in the assignment. So it was very easy for us to actually connect, and we have a common purpose. So marriage wasn't difficult, and it's not difficult right now.
Amazing.
Yes. My wife is a singer too, but she's not into that loud singing like I am into. But every time, if you check on my videos, she's there, she's back up, and it's making sure everything works out for me. So ministry and marriage, it's very interesting if you get it right, actually.
Wow.
If you have a partner that understands your calling, it's very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife makes ministry interesting for me. She's not here now, but honestly, that's one area I knew God has just favored me.
Wow.
My wife is, I didn't come here to talk about my wife, but honestly,
I'm talking about marriage also. It's only normal for you talk about your wife.
She's just exceptional, honestly.
Amazing.
Sometimes I just look at her, it's like there's a gun to her head that this guy must succeed. Seriously.
Wow.
Seriously. she's the one that dropped me off here. Yes.
Oh,
honestly.
amazing.
Yes. And she's gone somewhere. She will come and pick me when we're done. So anything, it's just when you get it right in marriage, honestly, ministry will be interesting. Ministry will be sweet.
Wow.
That's the thing about marriage.
Wow. Okay, so there's something that just popped up in my heart now. Okay. So what if you consider your wife is in choir, right?
Yes.
But I've seen some, is it possible that you guys might not necessarily, like you might have a spouse that doesn't sing, I'm just saying, person might have a spouse that doesn't sing. Do you think it's still going to work? You know, must the person necessarily be into, or do you think it's better? Let me use that word. Do you think it's better that the person is doing what you're doing or has an idea? Right? Because they usually discourage, you know, but what do you think? Do you think it's better?
Well,
or
there are some people that even, they don't want their wife to be doing the same thing they're doing because they start clash. This one wants to shine more, this one wants to shine more. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that if you have understanding, it makes things easier. If your wife is not a music minister or is not into music ministry, that's not bad. But you must be able to groom her to that level to understand that you will need support in one way or the other, and she or he should be able to support you in that regard. I have a couple of persons I know, they're into ministry, some females, but their husbands don't actually like that profession. They don't get that support, they don't get that moral backing, they don't get that spiritual backing from their spouse. And it discourages a lot of partners.
wow.
If you have somebody that understands your calling, it makes it easier, it makes it better.
Okay.
You may not necessarily be in that profession, but just understand this is what my spouse is called into. I have to just support him or her in one way or the other.
That's a good one. You know, so how do we avoid this kind of situations? Because the Bible talks about no divorce.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you get married to someone, the person is not supportive of your vision, of your ministry. And then you now start seeing, there's some cases I've heard about, right? That there will now be clashes in the home. Let's say the husband or the wife, they want to go for administration, you know, and then the partner gets upset and all of that. So in order for that not to even, it's already happening in some situations, but the younger people that are coming up now, what would you be your advice? Should we go with our emotions in choosing a life partner or ministry purpose? So what would you advise?
I think you obviously answered it yourself. Sincerely, I think if the way you have to get it right from the very foundation, honestly. You have to have an understanding of the person you are going into life with, which is marriage. If you get it right from that point, then it can be good. But if you don't know, you just go into marriage with emotions, the end product is usually disastrous. Seriously. It's not just enough to pray about it. You must get to understand the person. Is this person, even in courtship, you will know these things. Normally, if you're a spiritual person, if you are sensitive, you'll be able to pick these signals. This person, he does not support my vision. This person will not encourage me. You're going to rehearsals, he's telling you, I beg, just stay. Now, where are you going to? Just chill, don't worry. You go next Saturday. You already start sensing things like that. You just know that this guy or this lady is not into these things. So from that point, you should be able to discern if this person is going to support me in my career, in my vision or not. Once you get it right at that point, although there are some stages where, you know, there's a high level of pretense when people are courting. If you must be spiritual and sensitive to discern that thing. Otherwise, people can be deceptive. Somebody can drive you to the rehearsals and wait for you to finish and take you back. But eventually, when you're married, you discover that it's a different ball game entirely. Have you not heard of people that are married before with 3 children? They come over to a different city and they pretend not to be married, and in church, they go into a fresh wedding entirely. That's to tell you the level of deception and wickedness in the heart of some people. When it comes to marriage, you have to be too sensitive. I don't know how to explain it. Because the hell in marriage, when people tell you what they go through, I heard a story of a pastor. He will kneel down and be praying, and the wife will come and slap him on his nails. I mean, that's the height of it. a pastor, a minister is praying. Even if you don't have respect for the man, have respect for what he's doing at the moment. He's talking to God. And the man gets up from that place, beats the wife up. That's a minister. He has been pushed to the extreme. But we don't pray for that, child. What I'm trying to say is that you must get it right in ministry. If you sense this person is not just it, if this person is not going to help in pursuing your vision, it's not going to be supportive, definitely it is something that God will reveal to you. It's not with your sensual knowledge or your emotions. You can't decipher those things with your normal 5 senses. Seriously.
Wow, that's a very profound answer. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Bless you.
And I hope that people that are watching this would really learn from this, that it's important to get it right before. Not when you get there.
No.
You must get it before. If not, it's going to either make or mar your ministry.
Absolutely.
All right. So I have another important thing I want us to talk about here.
Okay.
As a minister of the gospel, right? I know you said amazing things about your wife, and I can't wait to meet her, right? Amazing.
Thank you.
Is it everything you share with your wife, with your spouse?
This is a very sensitive question.
Is it everything you share with her?
Okay, but let me answer it this way. The Bible talks about dealing with your wife with knowledge. So that's key. For every person that is married, as a man, let me talk from the point of view of a male, you must be able to decipher the level of information your spouse can handle.
That's important.
Yes. The sensitivity of the information, and with time, you just study her, know that the way she will react to an information, the way she will not react to some informations. As a music minister or as a minister generally, there are some people that confide in you, come to tell you private things. I know in marriage, you said you're naked and not ashamed. You have to let your spouse know everything. But for me, I think there are exceptions to it. If you come and tell me something about yourself and you ask me to pray with you about it, I don't think that information is for my wife. As a music minister, in every profession, there are registers of the profession. There are some things that are just private to you. Even if you're a doctor, somebody comes to talk to you, that information is just for you and in that your career place. It's the same in ministry. There are some informations I know, because I have understood my wife and I have seen her ability to manage information. If it is something that is too sensitive, it is not a sin to conceive things like that. I don't think it's a sin.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are some things, this information is not for my wife. Like for me, it's not even everything I want my wife to tell me. There are some things she wants to tell me, I just tell her, please leave it. This information will not help me in any way. For instance, there are she wants to tell me some things about her past. I don't need it, honestly. Because I know she loves me. That's the foundation of everything. I know anything she tells me is true. Anything she doesn't want to tell me is for my good. And there are some informations that are not relevant. I don't need those information. You must be able to determine, even you, yourself, how sensitive you are with information.
Yes.
There are some things my wife will tell me now. It will hurt me. That information will keep ringing in my head. Do you understand? I don't want to hear things like that. I think it's the same with ministry. But that's not to say you should hide everything from your spouse. For instance, I'm coming to a studio now. I have to let her know. Per time, she must know where I am, what I am doing. Those informations they should be made general. At least a family, somebody you love, should at least know where you are, what you are doing, or what your next move is. Those things you can actually let her know. But there are some very, very little or sensitive informations. Let me give you an example now. If you are my enemy, God forbid, automatically you are my wife's enemy. There's no explanation to that. She's not interested in what happened. The fact that I said this person is good, she will just inherit that. It's normal with some partners. But that's not the same with me. If you tell me, okay, this person hurt you, I'll find out what did you do? What happened? So I don't just join you and hate somebody. But that's not the same with women. If you hurt me the first time, I may not necessarily tell my wife about it. Because I don't want her to have that impression that you are a bad person. I may just know, okay, maybe that thing you did was an error. But to just go home and say, my wife, if you know what Vicky C did to me today, you understand? So you must be able to, some little information. Yeah. It's not everything you just,
Wow.
And finally, there are some things I like. My wife likes surprises. For instance, I'm trying to buy a car or I'm saving for a car. I don't need to tell her. She likes it, boom, wow. No, I say, oh, honey, we are saving for, no, I don't do all those. It's good to let them know, to carry her along, but sometimes there are information you just keep for good, not you are keeping it to hurt her. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for answering that, sir.
God bless you.
What you were saying all the while, what I was hearing is emotional maturity.
That's the word, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
To be married, you have to be matured emotionally.
Exactly.
Because there are even some seasons, I feel personally, my own opinion, that you need to study your spouse.
Thank you.
You know, it's not everything you just come and say, this will happen. You know, you have to study your spouse to know when to speak, when to approach, you know, and all of that. So thank you for answering that, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to be talking now about, as a minister, how do you handle attention from the opposite sex?
Well, everybody has a way of handling his own.
Okay.
Somebody like Joseph can run, tear the coat and flee and run. But there are situations where you can't run. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't run. You run. There are situations where you are confronted with the same situation every time. For instance, is a place where you work. You know, you have to meet the person daily.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't sack yourself from that job, but you're there daily. I'm just trying to give an illustration. There are some situations where you just need to confront the issue. For me, what helps me with the opposite sex is I know the implications. I know the implications. The danger is enormous. And the benefit of sanctification is too great a thing. The Bible was talking about Jesus. It said, looking at Jesus, the author and the finisher, who for the joy or who for the glory. Because of, let me give you an example. If I tell you, Minister Vicky, there's 10 million naira in Wuse 2. I give you 2 hours, go and pick it up. And as you are going, let's give an example. You take a bike here. The man is telling you 500 naira. And he gets to the junction, is arguing with you. No, you will pay me. You are telling him 300. Would you waste time with that man? You pay him. You know there is something you are going for. Anybody that is trying to distract you, you will not let the person distract. Because you know you have a goal. Yes. That is it with the opposite sex. Once I decipher or I sense that this thing is going to happen, and one thing God has helped me with is He has given me a conscience, a very wonderful conscience. Sometimes I want to even arrest the conscience and keep it. But the conscience is so strong. It helps me a lot. God tells me at every point, when such temptation is coming, He will tell me, my son, don't say I didn't warn you. You won't have the opportunity to say, had I known. That thing keeps ringing in my head. Don't come and tell me, had I known. I'm telling you now. You know it now. You know it now. So you're forcing yourself into it. It's telling you, you know it now. Don't come back and say, oh, I wish I knew. God, I'm sorry. There's no room for I'm sorry. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. When you hear such thing in your head, it's a natural check for things like that.
Wow, wow. And which leads me to say that it's very important as a music minister to have a good relationship with God.
Obviously.
Yes, you need to hear His voice constantly.
That's the thing.
Yes.
Once you hear God, it helps you. The voice of God is powerful.
You need to hear it constantly.
Yeah, constantly.
You know, some people, I've talked to some ministers and they will say, oh, I don't know when it happened. I'm like, no, you can't say you don't know. Because if you're a minister of God, you have the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
He will be prompting you. You will be saying danger, danger, you know, so there's no room to come and say, you did not know. No. That's one advantage we have as believers. We have the Holy Spirit. He tells us all the time.
That's correct.
You know, so I like the way you just said it, sir. You know, listening to him as in knowing the danger.
Yes.
And apart from that, knowing that, you know, it's going to really hurt your spouse.
I'm telling you.
And one thing is, you have to put yourself in the shoes of another person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't, in this part of the world, Sha, for what I hear, men don't like to hear their wives, you know. You see your reaction already, yeah? Are you seeing your reaction already?
It's
You're
not
already like shining your eye, you know. But why, let me even ask you, why is it that this is not even just about Christianity? Men generally that are, you know, this man is promiscuous to the core. But if he hears his wife was just even mistakenly doing elbow to somebody,
I think
why is it like that?
It's a natural thing. I think
like sure it's natural, or it's a wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's a wrong setting. I don't know how to explain it. Because why would you be doing what is painful to someone, and you say, "Oh, he's a man. I'm a man. It's a man's world." But a woman will just even by mistake her shoulder will brush somebody that the man is not comfortable with, and is already pulling down the whole place. Please explain, please. I personally want to know.
Actually, you know, the man is the head of the home.
Hey!
Is that not correct?
Wait first. You see, this is the answer that I'm sure if you have like 3 females here, we're going to push you. We will push you now.
Naturally.
No, sir.
Naturally.
Please. I don't want to be defensive.
The woman is the head of the house.
I didn't say that, sir. But is that a prerequisite?
No.
Okay, let me listen to you. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
There is a. I don't know how do I explain it now. It is maybe because of our culture, the way we are raised here in Africa too. It's a very sensitive thing. When you have a wife, it's like it's your possession. I'm not saying, of course, that's what it is. Okay. It's your partner. You guys are together. Yes. And you assume this one is my own. Yes. It's exclusive to me. Oh. Yes. That's how it should be, and that's how it is. So are you now saying that you think that for the women we don't see it like that? Yes. Is it because the man pays the bride price? You now feel like it's a possession. People should be paying bride price then.
No, sir. No. I don't even think
there's no moral justification for anybody to actually do that. Sincerely, there's no moral justification.
It's so painful.
But the way the society is, and the way we were groomed, and the way the nature of our culture. The men, they just see themselves as the dominant factor, as the person in charge. So you, as far as they are concerned, they own you, kind of, and they have taken possession. And even women, they understand that too. It's very unfortunate, but that's how it is. And it's not supposed to be, seriously.
So it's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be. I wish that men could just understand that the same pain you guys feel.
But listen to when they brought that adulterous woman in the Bible, you can see the man wasn't there. He was the one Jesus was addressing.
Honestly, I've thought about that so many times.
Of course.
And probably, even the man said, maybe he was one that was picking stone to stone.
You should know, if the friends are there now. So that's
and all those other men, so maybe their anger was that maybe she no agree for that, she agree for the friend, and the friend to now join to stone. It's not fair on women. No, it's not fair.
Even in the Garden of Eden, where it was Eve that collected the apple, but it was Adam they called. God said Adam.
So what does that mean?
So it is the man that is responsible. So
that is the more reason why I feel that as men. You should. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, men that promiscuous. Consider the fact that you have sons as well.
Yeah.
They are watching what you are doing, and they are growing up with that mindset that to. I'm not saying don't be dominant. Be dominant in your home and be a good example.
Obviously, that's
and that's you see a lot of women bitter, sad, upset, and not glowing, not happy because of this thing. It's painful. So I just wanted us to just drop that out there.
I think it's two ways though. You see some men that are going through terrible stress because of women. So it's not just a man thing.
I'm not trying to defend women though. So but saying our men start our first. Yes. So that's all these women now. They are doing all these women empowerment. It's because you people started this. Yes.
God
yes,
will help us.
but
God
it's the
will
truth,
help
sir. You want to argue
no,
it.
I don't want to go in
Thank
that
God you don't
area.
want to
I
argue
don't want to
it.
argue
Because
that area.
when you see women going through all of this, we don't want to at this small now. We don't say the dominant factor.
But women are trying these days.
Yes,
though.
now.
Honestly, they are coming up and they are almost even taking over.
Yes,
But
now.
naturally, the man
Because, Kai,
is the head. God
yes,
is
I
gonna help
know,
us.
but head of the family to lead the family to the purpose God has for them. That's why God made you the head.
Yeah.
He didn't make you the head to come and say I'm the head, then you are pressing your wife, your children are
But
watching.
you know, if you are a woman of understanding, it's the way you regulate your man. I tell you sincerely, if you, although except there are some, you know, people are different. Some people can be just, you'll be wondering, is this a human being? Because normally a woman is that understands marriage, no matter how tough your husband is, there's a way you can put him under control.
How,
Honestly.
sir? How?
I talk about myself, honestly. And there's a way a woman behaves when they say respect your husband.
Hey,
oh my God.
Let me
That
ask you,
thing.
sorry, no verse.
Okay.
As a man now, you know your wife slept with somebody. I'm just saying as example. Would you be able to sleep with her again?
That memories, it will keep playing.
Now, the same thing for women. In as much as you say she's your wife, she's supposed to respect you. If you know in your mind you have slept with somebody else, it is difficult to even look at the man.
Yes. You know what?
So it's the same thing.
No, let me give you an example. You know, even in the Bible, men were allowed to marry multiple wives. Do you know? Let's not even go to that side. Mr. and TV If you go the way of the Bible, you know, when David was sick, was unto death, you know how they wanted to try if David was still okay. They brought a virgin to David. When David could not do anything, David is really sick. David is sick.
Because I know David was a
when David could not, they say, this man, of course,
he's really
sick. He's sick. So the men are actually, I don't want to say they have that capacity to.
But you know that when the Lord came and they were asking him questions, his response most time was that was not how it was meant to be from the beginning.
Yeah, I understand.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
If God felt that there was going to be multiple, he's not a confused God. He will bring 3 and say, Adam, we are all for you. Then we know that, okay, that's the order.
This conversation,
you know, it's another day. All right, so finally, what advice are you going to give to a young person who is saying, okay, I have 5 talents, or I feel drawn to this. How do you know which one is the right calling of God that, you know, the person should go for?
Okay, if you say you have 5 talents, I don't understand where you got 5 talents from.
No, some people will say I'm good at singing.
Yeah.
Some other person say I'm good at writing. That person say I can dance. Another person say, you know, and they feel that God has called them
into
to
all
because they feel they are good at it.
Yes,
you know, I've met people like that.
Of course, there are people like that.
So how would you now? What would you advise that kind of person so that they are not confused? They focus.
First of all, you must have something you know that gives you utmost joy when you do. It gives you fulfillment. It gives you pleasure, and it makes God happy. Once you're able to discern that thing, that's your calling. Every other thing can work together to enhance that calling. Yes. Every other thing you do is to empower that major thing. For instance, I do business a lot. The main thing I do that gives me happiness is singing. So every business I do, all the mornings, this is what I channel it into. So that's amazing. It. You may have different talent, but there's one that you know resonates in your spirit. I think that's talent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that profound answer.
God bless you.
All right, guys. I hope you people are here, though. So if you have like 5, 10, or 15, you are confused, please just listen to what Minister Fortune has said. That's just the perfect answer. God bless you guys. Thank you, sir, for being on this podcast.
It has been an
We're looking forward
time.
to finishing that our conversation that you said for another day. We have to finish it though. So we're looking forward to having you again.
I'll bring somebody here.
You bring somebody, no problem. Please, at least I'll bring another woman.
Exactly.
For it to be fire for fire. Amazing, sir.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank
Thank you
so
for
much.
being on our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you,
God
guys.
bless
Thank you
you.
so much, sir. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.